I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
And this is Changes.
It's a cover.
It's a cover of Changes, Mr. Charles Bradley. For timely topical political commentary, you can hit us up in Middle America with Vin and Sori.
Okay.
And this looks like it's a black dude. I didn't know that. Okay. This should be very interesting. Very interesting indeed. There are multiple ways to get your song viewed, dear listener. My favorite way is the community option. $1 to gate gets you in at Patreon, where you get to meet the amazing Leah, the amazing Ian, the mighty Ian, the amazing Helen Dross, and the amazing Chris Culp. You will be recruited, and then you get to hang out with your best buddies in the world. You pull your points together, and that helps determine what songs we review. On top of that, there's perks based on what level you're on. Like, for example, the $5 level gets you, the first 40 seconds of the new song that me and Sori are working together with our amazing band. You didn't know Vin was in a band, it's true. And then, there's a shirt level, mug level, all this really, really cool stuff. So that's $1 to get at Patreon. Now, if you, dear listener, do not want to be part of a group, and you're an individualist, and you're a radical capitalist, and you're a filthy capitalist like Sori, and you want to hop, skip, and jump ahead of the line, there's a way to accomplish that as well. $125 gets you straight to the head of the line, where you get to determine by your lonesome which song to review. And that is what our good friend, who is this, Victor?
Yeah.
That's what our good friend Victor did. Thank you for the patience, my guy. Really appreciate it. And now we are Andreas, all you folks. We appreciate you. Your time is coming very, very soon.
Yep. We'll all be added to the short list.
Nobody wants to hear anything from me anymore.
Okay.
Changes, Charles Bradley. Let's see.
Am I right? The last tune you're going to do for us is Changes, which is a tune by Black Sabbath. You don't strike me as the average Black Sabbath fan. How did this tune cross your path?
Mr. Tommy Burnett asked me to do this song. Never heard of the guy. But the lyrics was so powerful. And that was going through the crisis. My mom was very ill. And I was watching her suffer, and it's hurted me to my heart. And I didn't want to do the song, but the first verses was very hard for me to learn because I didn't want to accept it.
Oh.
But when I saw my mom, when she took her last breath, the second verse just came so natural. I didn't have to rehearse it.
Wow.
I didn't have to think about it. I look at it when she said her last goodbye to me. And boy, even today when I sing that song, I get truly emotional in that.
Well, it's a beautiful version, man. They're gonna. I think they'll all agree with me once they hear it.
I feel unhappy. I feel so sad.
Oh, God.
I have lost the best friend that I ever had. She was my woman. I love her so. But it's too late now. I let her go. Listen now.
Don't let me go.
I'm going to change it. I'm going to change it. Oh, it hurts so bad in my life. It's gonna be a change in my life. We shed the years. We shed each day. In love together, we found a way. But soon the world had his evil ways, my heart was crying. Love went astray. I'm going to change it. I'm going to change it. Oh, it hurts so bad in my life. It's gotta be a change in my life. Somebody gotta help me. Ah! And this is the part that hurts me the deepest. It took so long to realize I can still hear her last goodbye. And now all my days have turned to tears. Wish I could go back and change these years. I'm going to change it. I'm going to change it. Lord, it hurts so bad in my life. It's gotta be a change in my life. Somebody gotta help me.
Woo! Oh man, Charles Bradley, please give him as much thank you applause as you possibly can. Charles, that was fantastic. That's Ben on guitar back there. They never have too many Bens in the room. Thank you guys for coming out. But
Thank you.
once again, man, thanks. I really appreciate it.
Wow. Wow, he really, that's really good. He captured that emotion in verse 3, too. Like,
Yeah. I mean,
that's just, wow. I love his voice, too.
Yeah.
Is that like,
soul.
yeah, soul, but it's kind of, what's the difference between blues and jazz?
I don't really know.
Okay, well, it's
Sure,
one
it
of
probably
those,
has to do with the
some,
scale
like,
work or something. But
some of that feeling there, like, just really, yeah, wow. Definitely. That's something I would listen to again, and that's a song that I want to sing along with.
yeah, I mean, it's really interesting how songs take on different meanings. Obviously,
It's a relationship song,
it's
yeah.
a relationship song, as Sori is always going to say. And it's about, she was my woman, yada, yada, yada. But he started off telling us about his mother. Mm-hmm. And so, we were reading his mother into the song.
I didn't read his mother into the verses prior. He said, we actually went to the beginning, he said verse 2 was about his mother, but then when it actually came, it was actually verse 3 that he said was the one that he thinks of his mother. So the other ones, like, to me, it can be different things, like, first verses were relationship, third verse was his mom, like, you have different types of relationships in your life, and...
Yeah. I just took the whole thing as his mom. Because obviously, I lost my mom a few years back, so And you're really not the same person after that. You know, you're just never really the same person after you lose your mother. Especially if you're a guy. It's just different. I don't know. This guy got his break when he was in his 50s. He didn't get discovered until he was in his 50s.
Wow.
Yeah. And
This looks recent, this video.
Yeah, he died in 2017 of
he did.
stomach cancer, surrounded by his friends and family.
Oh.
So, inshallah, he's with his mother now, inshallah.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know what's really interesting? This song is probably the most direct and simplistic song lyrically. I feel unhappy, I feel sad, I lost the best. Like, there's no wondering about what's happening.
Yeah.
There's nothing really to interpret. Like, this is not Danny Filth, but this is a classic song that I have seen covered and used in so many different ways. I think Jay-Z did something of it. There's a local rapper here that did something on it. There's, this cover. And it's something to me who, I love complexity and I appreciate complexity. But there's something also important about the simple, raw, this is how I feel in this particular moment type songs. Yeah. It's Ozzy, it was just right and straight to the point. This song was written 50 years ago in 1972. And it's still relevant, and it's still right smack in the middle of the human condition, and it can morph to so many things. It could be your best friend, it could be your mom, it could be a relationship that you lost, all the rest of it. It's just one of the things that I don't think you're gonna have another Ozzy type, band or lyricist like that again. It's just very, very simple, but very soulful. I
think we did the Black Sabbath version. If you're interested in seeing our review of that, you can just look it up in our song list.
Yeah.
But I think that one thing that changes are so changes bring so much complexity to every situation, especially relationship changes. And for one thing, we have to realize and recognize that people change throughout the years. So the person that you married when you were younger is not the same person that you're going to be with when 20, 30 years after you got married, because that's part of being human is you are going to change, you're going to grow, and you're not going to be the same. And then there's obviously life changes that can be very, very traumatic. And I think that when I think about changes and I think about a certain span of a certain chunk of my life that was so full of changes, it was I can't take any more changes right now. And the stress that the changes brought, and like I said, the complexities and everything, it was just a lot. And that's what I like about this song being so simple, is that it kind of makes you feel changes are a normal thing in a human experience. If you go your entire life with no changes, well, then you're probably chained in somebody's basement, and that's it. You know what I mean? You can't go through life without changes. Changes are going to happen.
Yeah.
And so it's almost when he's singing this, to me, there was this calm acceptance of the fact that things are changing. And that, even though it's painful, I'm going through changes in my life. Oh, baby, oh, now. You know what I mean? Just the way that he...
The original or this one?
I'm talking about this version. The soothing way that he was singing it. You heard the pain every time he would, yell. You heard the pain in there and stuff. But at the same time, it was... I am going through change. You know what I mean?
It's weird because I took the opposite from it. It didn't seem that he was welcoming it or calmly dealing with it, because he had the ad-libbed, and then he had the little prayers to God and things like that in the middle. Shout out to Geezer Butler, by the way. I want to give him credit because he's the one that wrote the lyrics, not Ozzy. Ozzy's the one that sung the lyrics, but. And all that, which I think is...
I took that as pain.
Well, yeah, what I'm saying,
not chaos. Change is chaos to me.
Oh, okay.
But I didn't feel
change
the song...
Well, it's really interesting, because, today is the anniversary of the baby. Right? So he goes up a week every Sunday.
Right.
So he's 25 He's
25 weeks along, guys.
And he's now the size of a rutabaga.
Rutabagas are big.
These people have such weird...
I know. Why is it always food?
All right, there's the rutabaga. And what's interesting is, like, those changes are celebrated, from when he was a little, macaroni to now he's a rutabaga. Like, your baby is the size of a single macaroni.
Yeah. Did I say that? I don't even remember macaroni.
No, I just said macaroni. But, like, changes like that, like, we love them, we celebrate them, that type of thing. And then we get to some point in our life where we, like, stop celebrating changes.
Well,
you know what I mean? And
that type of change doesn't bring us pain. It brings us joy. The more changes that he takes, the sooner we'll be able to see his little face.
Well, yeah, that's the effect it has on us. But the more changes that happen to him, the closer he is to being shoved out of his comfort zone and the only world he's ever known. Right? So we like the change, and that's kind of how I look at God, where it's like we're looking at like, what's going on? And it's like, well, you were in this, you were confined and you didn't know it, and you were fine with being confined because you were comfortable, but now you're going out into something bigger and broader, and you're going to be okay. And that's kind of the way that I look at changes and things like that. Like, I don't. But again, I grew up in an environment where there was constant movement and change, and you could be in one state 1 month and another state a completely different month. So for me, change is not change isn't chaos for me. Change is. Yeah, you stayed in the same...
We didn't barely have any changes. Everything was exactly the same. Day after day, year after year. There literally really was nothing that made any change at all. And I was talking to Zoe today, and I was explaining to her the way that my parents and everybody around us really talked about... There was... We're Christians growing up, and they talked about the rapture. And so that was where God could all of a sudden come back at any moment, and he just snatch you out of the earth, and you're in heaven now, and the whole earth is going to go in chaos. And that, to me, was like one of the things that got me through so many boring days, was because, nothing's changing, everything's kind of whatever, but the rapture could happen today. I thought of that so many times when I was bored and stuff, so... But yeah, I didn't really have any changes. But everything was always changing.
Yeah. And so change doesn't feel like chaos to me. But so it didn't seem like he was like calm and happy with, or calm about it. It seemed like he was acknowledging, before he's saying I'm going through change, he was acknowledging that the changes were painful. Mm-hmm. And obviously, particularly, where you lose your mother and things of that nature, or you lose somebody close to you, it changes you. And, and even with the kids, there's a sense in which, my kids lost their mother, and it changed them.
Oh, absolutely.
And like, there are some night and day, and as a parent, it's very hard to watch that with your kids.
I was an outsider watching it, and it was painful for me, and I can't imagine being in your situation. Oh.
Yeah, but the thing is that, God, it wasn't, like, I think I would have had a much harder time if I grew up in, the picket fence and all that. Mm-hmm. But I saw that, I lost my dad when I was a kid, to some degree. My dad's still alive, but, long story. But God brought me through it, and I was able to use the pain of my upbringing and the chaos that you would call it to God was able to use that to my advantage. Mm-hmm. And I was able to help people, and I was also able to, I can move in any group of people.
Oh, yeah.
So there are advantage. So I look at it, and on the one hand, it's like painful to see it happen to your kids. On the other hand, I'm like, well, and God told me one time, like, look, man, they're on loan to you. They're my kids. So I know what I'm doing. Just do what you're supposed to do, and let me worry about what I'm supposed to do. And I was like, all right, roger that. So that's kind of, those are kind of the things that, my faith is obviously a big part in everything that my entire life. But, it's still very hard to see. And I think it's important to recognize that simultaneously, changes are good, or to say, look, change is, evolving is how we all got here. Whatever you want to say, mm-hmm. Like, it's always a good thing if there's a telos. If there's like some goal somewhere to attain, then it's great. What I think people get in trouble in is if you're having changes but there's no purpose behind A to Z. And I think that's where people get tripped up. And that's why I always say that our worldview is extremely convenient. Because it's all going somewhere. And you know, we're convinced that it's all going somewhere. And I think that that's very helpful. But if you don't have a worldview where it's all going somewhere, then it could be pretty terrifying.
Oh, absolutely.
Or depressing or whatever. But yeah, shout out to the big homie. He kind of took that song over, huh?
He really did.
It was the what is it? The Trent Reznor one that what's the guy's name? The Man in Black. He's a country guy. You don't know any of these people. You're supposed to be a country girl.
Johnny Cash.
Johnny Cash. So Johnny Cash did the Hurt cover, and he basically took it over. And then I think I was watching something where Jimi Hendrix covered an Eric Clapton song, and Eric Clapton said it's Hendrix's song now. And like this is I put that in this type of category.
Yeah.
Like.
Yep.
Forget it.
Yep, I agree.
Good lord. Good
agree.
stuff. What a good song.
It's an 11.
Whoa.
Because I literally don't know what I gave the last one, but this one definitely has to be rated higher. So.
It's a 10 for me. It's a good one. Shout out to the big homie. Rest in peace. Inshallah, he's with the A and Sofin with his mother. And we'll see you soon, buddy. Vin out.
Sori out.
Gone.
But the lyrics was so powerful. And that was going through the crisis. My mom was very ill. And I was watching her suffer, and it hurted me to my heart. And I didn't want to do the song, but the first verses was very hard for me to learn because I didn't want to accept it. But when I saw my mom, when she took her last breath, the second verse just came so natural. I didn't have to rehearse it. I didn't have to think about it. I look at it when she said her last goodbye to me. And boy, even today when I sing that song, I get truly emotional in that.
Well, it's a beautiful version, man. They're gonna. I think they'll all agree with me once they hear it.
I feel unhappy. I feel so sad. I have lost the best friend that I ever had. She was my woman. I love her so.